Alston.
Come on, find an ear with me.
Oh shit!
I'm resident of Collinwood for YouTube. Jules saying that there is no sanity left in this world. I'm here by Perry McClain Jr., Cara Tillitz, Alan Gallant, Patrick McCray. We're here to talk about the late, great David Lynch, who passed away very recently. Ladies first, Cara, when did you first watch David Lynch or discover his films?
Honestly, it has been a few years. Honestly, a few years. Like I would say in the past 6 years, honestly, that I actually noticed and really noticed David Lynch's work, to be honest. Yeah. And it started with Twin Peaks for me.
Sure.
And from then I was like, I need to see every piece of work from this dude. Like
I'm gonna hook at that point.
Like Twin Peaks got me. Like, and Barry and I were talking. It was like in 2017, like when The Return came, that even like totally passed me by. Like, not even a notice for me. But it was just something that just kind of like an all of a sudden thing in my life came to my attention, and I was like, and so I watched Twin Peaks. That's where it started, and I was hooked. I was hooked, and that led into I knew about Eraserhead and Elephant Man. I knew about David Lynch.
All right.
I knew about him for years, but I just didn't really pay it no mind at the moment, like in my earlier years. But after Twin Peaks, we got into Twin Peaks together, and after that, I went back and watched what I already knew about, but had never watched, and it was something I was like, why hasn't this hit in my life earlier?
Right.
You know, but that didn't mean anything because now it is. And yeah. I would say 6 to 7 years ago. Yeah. That's when I really started. It really hit with me.
Yeah. Barry, when did you first discover David Lynch's films?
I probably had to say when I was like 11, 12, because my parents was watching Twin Peaks when it aired. And I used to be in my room on my bunk bed. My sister was like down the bottom. And then I heard that fucking slow drag of the boom, 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 boom. I was like, this shit is creepy, but I was like, it's boring. I'm going to sleep. I can't believe my dad watching this boring shit. But you know, ever since like I was 12, and then you know, you grow up. Everybody talks about David Lynch. My dad's like get GQ magazine and shit. You know, Playboy, Penthouse, David Lynch is all through all that shit. You know, it was about like what I was considered that like 20 more plus years.
Yeah.
Knowing the David Lynch.
Yeah.
You know, just knowing everybody all directors talk about him. It's just like.
It's kind of like your palate changing with food as you get older. Your palate changes mentally with things as you get older, and it just clicks.
It does.
Like,
yeah, it was weird. Twin Peaks. I was about 29 or 30, I think, when it debuted, and the music, you know. Badalamente's music is just like I ended up getting the CD, and I also at the time I was collecting non-sports cards, so there was a non-sport card set of Twin Peaks. So I mean,
lucky bastard!
Don't have it anymore. Sold it to my brother.
They had cards of everything back then. Remember?
They did in the late '80s, right through till the mid '90s. It was like a complete craze. I
got a complete set of the Sallow bubblegum cards.
Yeah.
Oh,
it didn't taste like gum.
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't taste like chalk. It's like.
Pardon me. Just want to. Yes. Carry on. Someone's about to do something they shouldn't do. Hold on.
Yeah, but when I was about 12 years old, my mom's friend Dave Troyer got me into science fiction. By showing me some Star Trek episodes at his house, and then he's like, you know what you need to watch? You need to watch Dune. And I said, okay. And that's the first time I heard the name David Lynch.
Oh, that's such an awesome segue into Lynch though. Like Dune, I wish I entered on Dune. I entered on Twin Peaks and I heard of Dune, but I never saw it.
Yeah.
You know, I see.
Wow, what a movie!
Yeah, what a movie, right?
See that movie when it, especially first run. It really it disappointed at the box office the first time around, and I think it did better when it ended up, going cable and TV and VCR.
But Alan, think about this though, Alan, saying that why it hit more on that because the boys are at home to watch cable to catch Dune, maybe in the summertime during the daytime, nothing else to do.
Yep.
It all depends on the presentation of stuff, especially you understand this when you're publishing stuff. And it's like that season, that time of the age, the kids, the
Time of the Apes. I love that movie.
Don't we talk about Lynch here, but when it came to Planet of the Apes, I got that in cable. Cable got me into that. I couldn't witness the movie. Yeah. Speaking of what I'm saying here. So
It's true. I think we all came up. We were either really young or at least fairly young when cable became big, and you just sort of it's 57 channels and nothing on. How about 357 channels?
Channels with nothing on.
But every once in a while you'd hit something and that was it was a whole different thing. It was
sense of adventure. Yeah, sense of adventure.
Real quick, like when I first saw Dune for the first time, it hit me. Like I didn't expect to love it the way I did. Like I will tell you, the feeling that I felt watching Dune, I'm not exaggerating. When I watched Dune, it hit me when I watched Star Wars for the first time. It was like it just had that.
Yeah, it's a world unto itself. It's kind of it's really cool that way. Do you know there's a Dark Shadows connection to the first Dune movie?
Wow, what is it?
Kenneth McMillan.
That's right.
Oh yeah. I noticed mad people in there. Dude, McDennis was in there. Yeah. The guy that played in Twin Peaks was in there.
Yeah.
Big
Ed. I mean, it was I mean,
he played two parts on Dark Shadows.
Yeah.
Because he was that one guy, but also the episode where they couldn't get Nancy Barrett, he played Carolyn. It wasn't as convincing. No, we didn't play Carolyn. I'm just
God. The Carolyn character.
Barrett
I was like, what?
Good Lord. Hey, Jewel. Jewel, I've given you a cat. It's a very nice cat, but you have to milk it every day.
Every day.
Milk it from the right area. Okay.
Yeah, I have a cat. Her name is Lulu.
That's the one.
But Kenneth McMillan played Sailor Jack Long in one of the Leviathan episodes, I think.
Yeah.
He was.
I love that run, man. I love Leviathan.
Yeah. What? I know he's passed away, but is there a movie or a project you guys that anybody wanted David Lynch to maybe do? And
Return of the Jedi. He was supposed to direct Return of the Jedi.
I know, but but he did Dune, and that was his Star Wars.
Patrick, Patrick, you brought that up. We were just listening last night in honor of David and everything. We were listening to Everything David, and he did that interview where he was in the running to do Return of the Jedi, and we were like, "Can you imagine?"
What he got to
with his vision. Can you imagine seeing Return of the Jedi with his vision?
It would have been
what
amazing.
Differences might have been there.
It would have been amazing. The standards would have been so high for Star Wars at that point.
In his version, Han Solo was supposed to die at the end.
See, I couldn't take that though.
And not die unceremoniously, like in episode 5 or 4 or whatever it was.
It was too dark. The treatment's too dark. The treatment's too dark. In Dune, you can kill motherfuckers off easy. You be like, "Whoa, this shit's serious."
Yeah.
It was like Mad Max meets Star Wars.
Yeah.
Barry, I want you to think about something though.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been dark to the same to Empire Strikes Back to the degree that Empire Strikes Back was dark to Star Wars.
That's such a good fucking point. That's such a good fucking point.
Yeah.
That's such a good point. So
apparently Lucas even approached him and
He did.
And he turned it down based on the fact, hey, George, it's your vision. You need to do it.
Right.
And I think
but you see how much respect they do have for each other.
Yeah.
Back then, like it was like those boys. It was like Milius with them. It was Spielberg with them.
Yeah.
It was Lucas, and they were just like this little. They were the newer school of directors like we have today. And back then they were just like trading off and like helping with ideas with Jaws. Milius was like brought in on Jaws to write that poem for the shark.
The speech.
Yeah, the speech. Stuff like that. It's just I've missed that camaraderie in Hollywood.
There was a certain breed of director producers that really appreciated what he was doing from the get-go. I mean, Mel Brooks went and saw a screening of Eraserhead. And
that was when I hear it.
And told him, what do you want to do? And he listed off like 3 different titles to him, and Elephant Man popped up first, and he just liked the sound of the title. He hadn't even read the script.
That's it.
But doesn't it sound Lynchian just so start Elephant Man? It sounds like it's right up his alley.
Oh, totally.
And you know he deals with the grotesque. He won an award, if I'm not mistaken, for the makeup. I was there. I was watching that award show.
He was nominated for director too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it was a tear-jerking movie. I remember when it aired on TV. You know, I was there that night. I was crying, man. Every Sunday night, I want to say, it came on.
When that movie was my first David Lynch movie that I saw.
Yeah, I had to say that had to be my first David Lynch movie, and I didn't know it was fucking Lynch.
I saw it in the theaters, and when it first came out, and I was probably about 10 or 11, and it was an experience so intense that I blocked out part of it because my mother told me that I was inconsolable. At like age 10 or 11, where you're beyond that sort of,
at
least for your mom. But apparently, I lost it, but in the right way.
Yeah, man, there was some parts, man. Not because you were scared of the monster, you felt so sad for the monster.
It was how beautiful the ending was. It was how beautiful the ending was when he put the dead flat, and I just barely lost it.
Yeah, it was like that's all he ever wanted to do.
Yeah. I worked on a stage production of The Elephant Man back in 1983, 82, sorry. And that's when I got interested and got a hold of the movie.
Yeah.
Within a few months of that, I managed to get a hold of the movie. So that was my introduction to Lynch, was through that film, because I was interested in the story of he's Joseph Merrick in real life. They changed his name to John Merrick because they fictionalized.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I will admit, Elephant Man, I've seen it once, and I can't watch it again because it hit me honestly. Like Patrick, like you were saying, like. It hit that I can't watch it again. It hits me so hard.
It's one of the saddest movies I've ever seen in my fucking life.
Cara, leave it. Yeah, your piece of advice. Leave it at that, because you have not a movie but an experience.
Right.
That is perfect.
Every kid should watch that movie. I feel every child should watch that movie. Those are the type of movies my mom made sure I watch.
Like any other Lynch movie, I've seen however many times over. But Elephant Man, I have seen once in my lifetime, and I'm still not ready to watch it again.
But I'll watch it again for the aesthetic, though, because the shots were amazing. The photography was
magic, like you were saying. It was that one experience.
I actually saw, before I saw the movie, I saw the parody of it on Saturday Night Live. Steve Martin, Elephant Guy.
And you know comedy, they make fun of every fucking thing.
The Elephant Guy.
The Elephant Guy.
The Elephant Guy.
It's drunk on his face.
It was like, or should we be laughing at this? No, it's okay to laugh.
Absolutely. Yep. But the Elephant Man was my first film experience too with Lynch, and Twin Peaks would have been my second major experience with him. that was a great era for television. You had
Wasn't
Northern
it?
Exposure and Twin Peaks and all, and couple years later, you had Evening Shade, shows like that.
Oh my God, Evening Shade. It's like,
you know,
everything was good.
yeah.
I don't want to sound like the fuck. I don't give a fuck. I'm gray now.
Yeah,
everything was fucking good.
it was.
And like things can still be good now, but everybody is
and
not.
you just have to look harder. You used to be able to find stuff more easily.
Yeah.
Was in that era, there just seemed to be a lot of great television.
Just so much. It was like easy. Like we can all, everybody could. That's the point. You can create a show out of your ass, like Small Wonder.
Yeah.
Little robot girl, dude. That shit was fun.
Yeah.
So you could just make stuff up. Now you got to make it so in the box.
Yeah, you got to box it up. Yeah.
So when Lynch came with Twin Peaks, he kind of broke it back out of that formulaic TV that we used to see at one point before the era we're speaking of now.
Yeah,
because I mean, X-Files came out of that era. Married with Children came out of that era.
This is what I mean by him being sort of a neurodivergent director and writer, because Twin Peaks was so out there that it did inspire all this other stuff to happen.
Yeah.
And now we don't consider it quite that out there. We're kind of used to his aesthetic,
Yeah, we are.
But it was so ahead of its time.
It was.
Honestly, it was.
It still is in terms of the formula stuff. I mean,
the long pauses and stuff.
Yeah.
The long pauses. Yeah. Crazy.
And the casting of Twin Peaks. It's like every week there was some other, marquee guest character on it that just kept adding to the.
We talked about this because I said, I chalk it up to this, Alan, is the fact that he wasn't afraid to get new faces, which a lot of people are
which
now.
Was Twin Peaks mostly was brand new
faces.
Except for maybe the two people like Peggy Lipton and that he brought out of retirement.
He brought a couple
to do this show.
But
otherwise it was brand new.
The new faces outweigh the old faces.
Yeah.
He brought back a bunch of people that hadn't been working high profile for years too.
Yeah, like the one that was the woman beefing with Benjamin Horn.
Yeah.
Okay, she's a legend. All right.
I'm trying to remember her name.
You're going to see her in a minute, but she got an award, like because of being back on that show, and she wouldn't have won an award ever, honestly.
Right.
But she's a legend. Yeah. But Lynch was like that. He
brought them out of retirement.
He doesn't go for the person. He goes for the person.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
He's looking. He always looked for people that were going to tell the story visually and be the right tone for the overall story. He had a good eye for that sort of thing. Casting is king, as they say.
It is.
It is.
He was massively good at casting those kind of shows.
Yes.
He wasn't afraid to take risks. I mean, not everything he did worked. So what?
Right.
And he admits that himself. Not everything I do works, but it's mine.
It doesn't necessarily work for everybody. Yeah, I mean, like it won't catch fire necessarily. It's not that it wasn't working, but it
may not be your first choice, but for me, this is my vision. And it's working.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't. They think it takes money to do that, and it doesn't take money to do that because I work with Lloyd Kaufman, and it doesn't take money to do that.
Yeah.
That's why I know Uncle Lloyd was hurting a lot last night.
Yeah.
Because he's from that school. Him and Hurst are from that school.
Yeah.
And when you keep it simple, stupid, you get to have fun like Lynch. Like Kevin Smith does, another person I work with. You get to keep it tight. You keep the same actors. You can redo them all the time. The most thing is you're going to be paying money for is like the scenery, and you'll film a shot on a corner if the corner speaks to you.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter. But if you got a budget to play with, you still keep it small. You can high low ball it, and you can get like quality in quantity, but it seems like it's a little bit, but it's really a lot.
Yeah. Have you seen the earlier films of John Cassavetes, Barry?
Yeah, I did.
He used to shoot stuff literally on street corners.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But that was his style. I mean, dropping shit.
Yeah.
Close ups on dropping shit like 1,000 pearls. Yeah. You know, that's his style.
Well, just to throw it in there real quick to piggyback on that, just to throw it in there real quick. David himself, when he was asked, he was like, money should be the last thing on your mind, whether making it or having it to spend on making what you're trying to make. Money should be the last thing on your mind.
He did say that.
Yeah.
He was like, just what is your vision and make it work. Yeah. He's like, yeah, money has a lot to do with it, but
you have to go through the creative process before you go and make the ask.
The idea.
And you shift the focus to we need producers, we need money, we need this, we need that. But
I'm there right now, guys. Yeah. I'm there right now. Like I'm building stuff. I'm doing a whole new story arc. And you know how stressful that is. You get the right team together, can do this, you can edit.
If those people that you believe in you, it'll work.
It will work. I don't see how it won't work. Like, because I've done this process over and over again.
This was
money's going to come when we're selling it. You know, and that's how I get the most out of people.
No. On the hoop.
And Lynch is known for that. That's why I'm mad. I wish I could fucking work with him. You know, like I felt like cheated because I was aiming for him. I'm aiming for you. I'm aiming for you. I'm aiming for everybody. I respect minds, and I get what I want eventually. But he died, man. God, I love him. Such an influence.
This is on Justin Beam's profile. Everything I learned in life, I learned because I decided to try something new. Quoting David Lynch.
Yeah.
He's a risk taker.
Yeah, I think
risk taker. I mean, you guys in your field, you are risk takers. I mean, that's why I feel a kinship with you. But that's what artists do. It might come off brash or arrogant. Oh, I hate that word when you say that shit because it's like, why are you going to say that shit? Because I really appreciate thoughts. You should appreciate thoughts more. I think people should really appreciate thoughts, how fleeting they are, and how in the gold mine that you got in your neural processors.
Keep a pad by their bed is
all day. I was known for that as a youth. I got teased and shit.
Yep.
They don't understand we are one step ahead of them because we want to remember those thoughts. If you remember, that's $1 million. Neil Adams told me that's $1 million. You know, you write down that $1 million. Lynch speak of this all the time too. But as a writer, I write lyrics and stuff. I gotta write that when the synapses go off while you're washing the dishes.
Yeah,
that's what the best shit come to you. You know.
Yeah, visually things will come to you when you least want it to or expect it to. That's the thing.
Yeah. Definitely.
You could be doing anything. You could be playing with your kids. You could be out in your yard. You could be driving and sitting
you can
taking a shit. It don't matter.
That way, and then you can sit on the couch.
Yeah, it just
if you want.
Shit hits you at the weirdest time.
Because this is a long hose.
You got to be ready for inspiration.
Yeah.
Any moment of your life.
Somebody said, "Oh man, you know." He said on this one thread, he goes, because y'all know I don't play around. If you follow me, you know I don't play around with the work. I'm about getting the work done. And so the kid goes, well, sometimes people gotta wait for the muse and wait till it comes. I was like, no, fuck that. I fucking got a shotgun and I shoot that fucker down.
Or
shoot it down.
Run into something, yeah.
Yeah, because that shit gotta get done. If you stand on your ass like, I'm just waiting for it to come around. Slit that fucker throat and be a murderer. Like, get that idea. Make that shit.
I was real lucky. My first writing teacher was David Gerald, and he said that the number one most important tool of an author, and I think it's for any artist more than anything else in the toolbox, is enthusiasm.
Always.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because you got to be enthusiastic. Yeah, it propels you to do what you want to do.
Yeah, Patrick, you got to be enthusiastic about it when you're alone and stuff. If you can't sell yourself on that idea, why present it to anybody else? I don't give a shit. Don't come to me with that trash. Even if you threw it to the wall and it was the best you thought you ever had, hey, you better come up with some more shit. You know what I mean? Not just to get a hit, but just to get that euphoria that you get
Yeah.
out of success, but it's not about success. But imagine being successful over something that you were passionate about. You get addicted to that.
It kind of in piggyback with the enthusiasm. If you don't have the most enthusiasm in your shit, why would anybody else?
I can't believe your bullshit because people sell people. We got a whole country sold on a pack of lies. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Why would you not sell that shit if you know that shit weak? Am I right? Like, come with it. Like, that comes from, it's not aggression, it's enthusiasm.
Right.
It's not aggression. It's passion, but it's not aggression. People misplace that for aggression or arrogance. The ego just working at a factory every day, and that man or woman don't miss a day, come with the lunch. That's enthusiasm. How can that be considered arrogance? Because
something Alan and I have talked about is, when you're approaching certain projects, there's loving, there's loving doing the project.
Yeah.
And then there's, but that's not important as loving the project.
Right.
Yes.
The
that's
subject.
exactly what the fuck you're talking about.
Like a bad movie critic loves writing about movies.
Yeah.
A good movie critic loves
the movies.
Period. Period. Just like it's no such thing as a bad movie because you appreciate it for what it is, even if it's not your flavor. That's why I'm like, what is a critic? Because
everybody's a movie critic.
It's ebb and flows of how you feel about a presentation. So you can say, like, I don't like that movie, I like this movie, but what type of movie do you like? And then when you see that type of movie that you didn't like before put in a different light, you start liking that. But it was the same movie you saw before, but now you like that movie because of the So
there's a guy who writes about action figures. He's a real good writer. His name's Jonathan Alexandratos, and he has the best way to resolve issues of I liked this movie and you didn't, or you liked that movie and I didn't. The person who likes the thing, no matter how rotten it might seem,
it's usually me.
This is the thing to say, because this is what Jonathan said, and I loved it. And it was, I guess that movie gave me what I needed at the time. And I really think about, does this piece of art give me what I need right now?
Yeah.
And so if it does, it's a success, no matter how weird it might be.
Patrick, who's to say you can't hold that, Patrick? Like, that's so arrogant of somebody to say that movie sucks because I don't like it.
Look, I've watched Manos: The Hands of Fate 3 times. And it didn't really 2 of the 3 times. Just because I was in the mood. Okay? I was in the mood to enjoy a fertilizer salesman falling on his face. And that's
a terrible movie, is what I'm saying, but it's what you want.
Right.
That's what Patrick is saying. Like,
it's funny. Have you ever walked out of a movie and you really liked it, and then you read the reviews and you got the basic zeitgeist read on it? Because this happened with Dune.
Yeah.
And it's like no one got it. No one did not. And you have to stick to those guns. Though, of the fact that while it worked for me.
It's so scary though. That's the scary thing. I think that's the pretension that comes with a lot of people that don't take risks like talking and actually bare your soul with your art. That's all Lynch ever did.
But right now we're living in the age of the fanboy mob where, people get together and decide to trash stuff just arbitrarily because they can't do it. And that's my psychological reasoning.
You're right, Alan. They can't do it.
Right, but there's a pressure there, for other people to be, I'm going to be ultra and cool, and I'm going to go with the pack here and say X, Y, and Z just absolutely sucks because they didn't do it the way I would have done it. Except
they call it the mob mentality. They call it mob mentality. Alan, is the mob mentality. Like if somebody just start running out of the blue, somebody else gonna be like, "What are you running from?" The next thing you know, everybody's running.
Yeah,
it's the mob mentality. It's like no. You can make that work for good.
You can absolutely. You can. It's just a matter. It has to be. There has to be parameters, and it has to be organized, and rather than the other way, which is this is blob here. We're just going to go, to the negative.
Total chaos. Total chaos.
Yeah,
this is what you speak of, and it is like that to bring it back to Lynch and art. You see how chaotic his shit was, guys. The only reason why it's chaotic because he didn't go by the schoolboy basic rules of filmmaking.
That's right.
With the long pauses.
He had a lot of things to say. It seemed like chaos to people that weren't used to the way he was saying.
Wait, what did?
The way his format to me.
Just in general.
It was unorthodox. The reason why I was unorthodox because I'm used to. You gotta understand. I had to watch Bonanza every day with my grandma. You know what I mean?
Sorry.
You know, I was just waiting for 66 Batman to come on.
Barry, that wasn't your fault.
It wasn't.
But you don't have to take.
Having to watch Bonanza as a child was not your fault.
But the formatting, though, you learn this formatting as a storyteller. We all grew up to become storytellers.
Sure. The 3 or 4 act format.
Yeah, the 3-part narrative structure is just always there for everything. But a lot of artists in the field that I deal with, they try to put too much into it. They try to be like Alan Moore or something. Like not everybody writes that way.
No,
you see. So it's okay to keep it less is more, because then when you start getting in the snap of the 3-part narrative structure, what comes up in the beginning of your story is supposed to come up at the end as the solution or the hand sticking itself out of the grave.
For me, this
format. Lynch didn't do that.
This takes me though, but yet at the same time, he told a lot of story in a short period of time, even with that unorthodox pace. Exhibit A is Dune.
Yeah,
he does more in a half hour of Dune, in my opinion, than Denis did with like 9 hours.
Yeah.
I think you say that. I think he would agree with you, Patrick, because he said he felt he sold out.
Yeah.
This is the heartbreaking thing is when you love a movie that the artist himself has had to disown.
Yeah.
And the only thing I would say to Lynch about that is that, okay, I can see why you go Judas Booth on that.
Yeah.
But what you still did was so potent and so amazing that
they couldn't kill his creativity.
That's right.
Yeah.
Even with all the compromises Universal forced on you, it still is what is there is still genius. I mean, I saw
like
that.
He said, ahead of his time. It was ahead of his time. It's like timeless. You want to create art that's timeless. Like, again, the cliche Lord of the Rings, which I can't believe Tolkien is cliche, but he started that language of how we talk high fantasy. He started it with some other writers as well. But I'm telling you, Lynch was that. And I see a lot of people that try to do Lynch. It's called Lynchian, like it's called Lovecraftian now.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have that. We won't have that again. That was our generation.
Lynch had within the same year to 18 months, he had Dune and he had Blue Velvet.
Blue Velvet, yeah.
Stark contrast. That show. Part of my friend, he was showing his dick doing stuff like that.
Oh man. Yeah. People are loving the fact that he's showing his dick.
Yeah, man. I'm like, that is such a. That was in the face of people.
He got recognition and reward for Blue Velvet. You know.
Dune. That is a cult classic amongst the sci-fis.
I think as time went on, he got recognition and reward for Dune as well. But it just not
being ahead of its time. Later on, it got the recognition that it should have gotten from day one. But it's
always that.
But that was his perspective because he felt compromised. Because he wasn't given final edit and all of that sort of thing.
He did.
Yeah.
We covered this a little bit on the Dune thing, but what killed Dune was studio politics. Because new people came into Universal, and the way you make yourself look good when you come in as the new head is you make the other guys, the prior guys, look bad.
They always say that. They always say that when you're dealing with them higher up in Warner Brothers and stuff like that. Why do they do that? Like
because they're not. They know they're not going to be there very long because people are getting ready to do it to them.
Yeah, but we're not going to do that to them, though.
Barry, they're also not creatives. They're
and I don't want to say that because I don't want to sound arrogant when I say something like that. But
but it's true.
It's the fucking
truth. Studio executives are not there to create. They're there to manage.
They get on a fucking
nerves. Also stamp like a lot of administrators, they're there to put their stamp on something. And in order to put something, if you're insecure, to put your stamp on something is to stamp the last guy's forehead.
You can stamp my ass and I'll do what you say, but just let me do what I came here to do.
Yeah.
Right?
But you love doing it.
Wait, bring the lube. You bring the lube. We know that David knows that he highball lowball the deal. I know you're not going to give me the whole studio lot. I was only aiming for 2 closets.
Yeah. Well, that's the politics. That's how you play it successfully.
Yeah. And dealing with these cats, I mean,
a lot of creative people don't. That's not what they're good at. And sometimes, like, I think Lynch got better at it. I think he got very good at it after a number of years. But when he first was there, you don't expect him to be good at it. He's good at what he does, which is not inner office politics.
It's man. You can tell that, man, by a stretch. You can tell that one by a stretch.
Think about something with Dune.
Yeah.
And Elephant Man.
Okay.
And Eraserhead is that man's first.
Oh my God.
Elephant Man is only his second movie. And Dune is his third movie. Only his third movie.
But you get that big. Who to masticizes that quick? But if you know his story, it was a slow cooker. But when it hit, it just like they just gave him the keys. But it's like finding that thing, that spark. And again, this brings where I was talking to the guys, Joel and Alan, before you came on, Patrick. We won't get. He was our modern Van Gogh. We won't get walking, talking art again. I feel I won't be
at
here.
least in our generation.
In our generation,
right.
You know what I mean? Because y'all are elders. It's like he filled the void up that started stuff. Because we got Stephen King, we got body horror with Clive Barker, we got all this other great type of visionary.
Yeah. But they're all different. They're all unique.
They're all different. They weren't Lynch because he started a style.
Yeah.
That they even take. I guarantee you see some Clive in my favorite. Clive Barker's my favorite. Him and Carpenter, but but you can see Lynch in their work. They do try to do the abstract when he talks supernatural.
Sure. The thing is with Lynch, what made it possible for him to do his second and third movies and be so successful at that was a guy named Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
That's the guy.
Right. We talked about that last night.
Yep.
Yeah.
Him giving him that shot though. Mel Brooks, Master, he picks the greatest shots, he picks the greatest cast, he's the funniest guy. And to be a comedian, you gotta be morbid and dark as fuck. And he was the master of it all. He can make what people call racist jokes back then, it was just fucking jokes.
Yeah.
And that's all Mel Brooks did.
Yes. Well, we just reviewed Blazing Saddles, and the whole
perfect example.
The whole thing with that is to skewer the bigot, skewer the dumb.
He was literally shitting on bigot with bigotry, and it makes it. He wanted to see him blush.
Yeah,
that's the thing. He did it to see him blush because guys like you and me and my girl, Jewel down there, all of us. We know we on the inside of the joke. We the ones laughing at the fucking movie.
Right.
Yeah.
All the uppity ones, conservative ones that do that shit. The most hateful bigots you ever seen in your life.
Yeah, they
don't even like other white people.
Yeah.
They don't. So they the ones all fucking off. I don't like that shit. Yeah, like terrible.
I think
let's go all through that shit, and you can even see it. With all of his movies, he even played on culture and race and that shit too, tastefully. They're like Quentin Tarantino do. Somebody tried to say he was fucking big in race. I was like, y'all don't see the same Tarantino I see.
I can't imagine that half the actors that love to work with him.
Opposite of that. He's using that in period.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
In period. I don't like it when people try to do period and don't do that.
Right.
But it's dishonest.
Stranger Things.
It is. It's dishonest. Right.
Yeah, gay community wasn't out like that, and that little jock boy wouldn't have liked that girl when she came out as gay. I was like, that's so unbelievable, and I was so happy that my lesbian friend said that shit too.
Yeah.
She was like, that's not real.
Well,
who?
Right.
I'm missing.
You gotta hear from somebody that lives that life. That shit fake as fuck. It's
I don't know who you're talking about. I need more details.
Oh, my lesbian friend. She's got a man though, and she's a dominatrix, and you know
she has everything.
I know.
No, make a trade.
Man, friends, man.
You can't have everything.
Hey, man, she's spoiled, and she's a great girl, and she deserves it. Let's put it like that.
But like you're saying, there's things there's like recently, like you're saying, Stranger Things. There's they hit it on the head.
Yes.
Not to go off topic, but they hit it on the head. Basically everything, they hit it on the head until that one point.
Yeah, I was like, that's very you don't even have to do that. Like I even got mad when Stephen
people
King
who were living in that time. It's like that's not the way it was.
Right.
You're just kind of pandering, or you're just kind of PCing
because if his tone changed as he grew with her through the stress of a monster trying to fucking bite me in the ass, and that will make anybody friends.
Yeah.
If you would have just let it naturally happen that way,
that's cool.
everybody would have believed it.
Yeah.
And they would have took that
fight. The way you're portraying it is not real.
But Patrick, look, being brave, Patrick, is what I'm saying. The Duffer Brothers wasn't brave on that note when they were brave on so many other kids.
They kind of gave in
what
was going on. And
Lynch never did that.
He never did that.
But when Doom, he probably did it. That's why he fucking hated it.
He was like, if I regret anything,
he said that. That's the only movie is Dune.
Yeah, they took the final creative decision making away from it.
Yeah.
Which they do a lot with directors. They we'll take care of the final cut. Oh yeah.
Sure. Yes.
It's like I had a baby, and then you take my baby that we made together and say, we'll raise it from here on, and then we'll give it back to you when it's 18.
Right.
Thank God.
In the meantime,
that's a deal.
Thank God.
Residual check.
Yeah. But like you said,
they're paying for the car insurance.
That's right.
Yeah.
They pay for the car insurance. They give you a golf cart to drive around the back lot.
I mean, think about Adam. Think about Adam.
They don't even give you a fucking skateboard in Hollywood. They don't give you a fucking
had to be toilet trained by Stokes. Who wants fatherhood under those circumstances?
It's true.
Patrick, honestly, but Patrick, though, honestly speaking, Hollywood terms, them as the funders, the people we go to get things done. When you come in and say, "Hey, I'll do it my own fucking self," they ain't got
they love that.
They don't got to let the stand on.
Ask the ghost of Orson Welles about that.
They hate it. So how I come in when I make deals with these motherfuckers, I just say, look, all I want for you is this and this. I'll do everything else, like sell it, promote it, do the art, everything. If you want a cut of my 20 or 25 or 50, mostly 50, you get 50 of this, you're going to do everything else. I'll control how it looks and everything like that. I feel that everybody should come in with that hard-boiled deal, because I mean, look, I learned from people like Kevin Smith and Lloyd how to do that. It's Spike Lee from afar.
The first thing I say is, I'm here to sell you something, and that's my integrity. Now, that's what you want, so let's start. No, I don't do that.
Thank you. You said it. That's all. That's it in a nutshell, brother.
Yeah.
That's it in a nutshell, brother. Mike Grell, the famous Mike Grell, legendary comic book writer, artist. He goes into a comic book company. He's like John Milius. He put a loaded 45 on the table and said, "Let's deal." I don't need to have deals like that. They used to do shit like that back in the 70s, though. But I don't have to do that. I just want to come with all my ducks in a row. I got a process. All I need you to do is produce and fund it. I'll let you put the stamp on my ass. I don't care. But just make sure you fund me while I'm making my cut of 25.
And you're talking about bravery. The brave producer does that. The brave producer hires you because they want what you are doing. They know, it's kind of like, as a director, I want good actors because I don't want to have to tell them what to do. I want the sorts of choices they make.
Yeah.
I'm taking it in. And there's no such thing as a bad take. All I'm trying to get is just a couple, at least 50 things to edit of that one scene. of you doing it, and you give me candy here. It's like, oh my God, as an editor and you're going home with that footy and putting it together. It's some fun. I think that's probably the most fun, editing this shit and putting it together. After all them takes you got, it's like these guys are so fucking good.
And can I say this, piggybacking Patrick of what you just said, like when you're hiring actors or whatever, you want people knowing what they're doing. But like with Lynch specifically, and he said it himself, like specifically take Twin Peaks, for example.
Yeah.
Most of the faces in Twin Peaks were upcoming and brand new faces that we didn't even know. And there was maybe
it was a big example of that. She went on to
there was maybe 2 or 3 people in Twin Peaks that were like veteran actors.
Right.
But
even we hadn't seen in forever. I mean, it was people like Russ Tamblyn.
Yeah, how Russ Tamblyn.
Yes,
Lori,
yes.
I've seen her for
ages. We used to call me like forever. Like,
but even with all the new faces, specifically with Twin Peaks, even with all the new faces that he invited to be on that show with him, gave them their freedom as new actors, basically pretty much not knowing what they're doing, gave them that freedom to kind of take leadership if they had an idea, like just go with it, like Kyle MacLachlan or Lara Flynn Boyle. She was only 20 years old when she started that. She was brand new. But if you have an idea, because he said it himself, I have that freedom with myself in my work. I have made sure I've had the freedom in my work, and it passes down to the people he's invited to be a part of his stuff to have that freedom as well, brand new or not, and kind of just letting them go with it. If you've got an idea, let's go with it. And that's what makes all of his work so beautiful, honestly. Like just giving everybody the freedom that he feels in his own work.
It really does.
And most of them, especially in Twin Peaks, most of them, that is why they praise David so much. Like, I owe everything to David for giving me the freedom and giving me the in to explore myself and to really.
Honey, I also think that came with the way he chose. No, I think that, no, you're saying it's true. I think that came with him looking at the person. He got an 8 and 11, 8.5 by 11 sitting there, and then he talked to him and just have a regular conversation.
Well, that's a very English style of casting, also.
Yeah,
it's conversational.
I can feel you because I'm writing you and drawing you in my mind. Just character, leaving them to what you said to just go with it. That you want them to have fun. That's what you said, Patrick. Just go in there and just go with it. They was having fucking fun.
Yeah.
I think Lynch was a guy who, in other words, would have said, you guys bring the passion and the poppers. I just bring the Albaline. Now, Jewel, will you please let us get a word in edgewise? All you're doing is talking.
Yeah,
Jewel.
Who else but David Lynch would look at Twin Peaks and see the milieu that he wanted, and then cast the 2 lead dancers from West Side Story?
Why would you do that unless you like that shit too?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's your thing too. He put it all in one work. It's like his whole personality.
Literal melting pot of different acting abilities and sensibilities.
Yeah. And can I say one more point on that though?
Yeah.
Like we were saying this before being on air and stuff, but there are very few directors and creators and writers that have actually created a universe. Like, we're talking Lynch, we're talking even Tim Burton, we're talking Stephen King, that have actually created a universe.
But that
and have
linked up.
But there's a reason and some understanding to why they keep their same actors in their universe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, they
links up. It links up. It links up.
Jewel,
in the universe.
What's your favorite David Lynch movie?
Dude. Anyway, listen. No, I do think that when you get into the politics of Hollywood, it's very difficult to deal with it. I'll give a great example. When I had Daniel Farrens on here, who wrote Halloween 6.
Okay.
He said before that the finish you see, the theatrical finish, he had nothing to do with. They did that all themselves. He did not know that was going to happen. The producers,
but kill me, man, kill me.
If you go watch the producer's cut of Halloween 6, that was his envision.
His magnum opus, yeah.
And that's the thing too. When you hear John Carpenter talk too, speaking of another horror legend,
my dad,
he's had to deal with politics shit
all day. That's why I love him. I think like him when I do my deals.
And if you really want to go read another one too, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Yeah.
When he did that interview with Justin Beeman Fangoria, that got the cover of Fangoria. And because the Weinstein brothers fucked with that movie so hard.
Fuck them, but still, I mean, like for that time.
I mean, so directors, writers, everybody deals with politics.
Sucks, man.
And it's not always to get your vision out there. I mean, I get David Lynch's frustration of Dune. Yeah. But I also think too, the one thing I feel sometimes directors and writers don't always have is faith in the audience that will see it. And see their vision they're trying to capture. And that's something
there's always somebody who doesn't get it and thinks the audience is dumber than they are.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. Audiences you're going to see a movie to be one thing, entertained, and does the story entertain you and grab you? If the answer is yes, you're going to enjoy the hell out of it, no matter what producer says, no matter what review. A lot of reviewers at the time when I went to go see Halloween 6 in theaters, that was the first Halloween movie I ever saw in theaters.
Ooh, lucky bastard! I wish.
I begged my mom to take me to see it, and she did. And I told Daniel Ferns, I said, thank you for writing that movie. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
It was fun, man.
And that's the thing. Like, curators don't hear it enough because they either don't get to interact with fans or they just don't. And I understand that.
But they got to stop that, man. You got to interact with your fans, man. I don't like when people do that, man. Why the fuck are you so special?
Not only do I agree with you, not only do I interact with fans, I interact with only fans.
I bet you do.
You still looking at my page?
I feel so seen.
Well, I'm telling you right now, though, you got to interact with your fans, and I don't like that when people do that. It's a form of arrogance. Let them ask you the hard questions. Why did you choose that scene? Everybody want to just do this Hollywood shit. They want to like fart by somebody in silent, but then like just fucking crop dust people with farts. You know what I mean? Just saying I farted. It stinks, right?
That's what Eisenhower warned us.
You know, like it stinks. Like I made a stinker. I'm sorry.
It's the methane industrial complex.
Very industrial.
You said about
farters.
Everything can't be good, guys. We're creators. You know this. Yes. We're going to hit on something good, and then we're going to hit on something.
I know it better than most.
Bad. It's something going to be bad. You're like, oh shit, why do you fucking do that?
Another thing too, you said about Orson Welles. Orson Welles made a lot of great movies. One in particular, on 4K, called "Lady from Shanghai."
Transformers.
And somebody, a reviewer, a guy who worked at the newspaper industry, decided to bury the shit out of that movie because he didn't like Orson Welles.
The late great Planet Earth, the Transformers. I mean, the Nostradamus movie. These are important films, and that's Orson's legacy for me.
I love Orson Welles.
I hear he directed something at some point, but who cares?
something Gazpacho.
Transformers. That's where it's at. It's
the thing about Orson Welles' writing, I mean, like growing up, you see World of Worlds, all jokes aside, and that kind of fueled my sci-fi thing. You know, like as a boy, I didn't get to hear. Imagine hearing that story on the radio, though. The most scariest thing you ever hear in your life. That's true horror.
And I could see why that would,
it's true horror. It's in the delivery of it. So when we look at Lynch, how he was doing horror, and I want to bring it back to Eraserhead, that horror in that, and it was fucking horror.
Yeah, sure.
It was art horror.
Oh yeah.
It was art horror. The reason why I call it art horror is because the shots, they were very distilled. The guy by the decrepit body by the window with the furnace going off, the steam. And he pulling this thing, it's like a train. That's the unknown. And you like, is that supernatural beings controlling the way life is?
Maybe.
Down here.
Here's the thing that about Eraserhead and horror is that, with Lynch, there's always this incredible, reverence for the mundane. I'm Bob's big boy. I'm loving my pie, my coffee.
I love that.
And he's sincere about that. And there's also this fascination of the twisted and what that does in his mind. And so for me, the horror in Eraserhead is him giving the emotional feeling of the horror of meeting in-laws, the horror of dating, the weird horror of fatherhood.
That was huge.
Yeah,
so what's
the horror of getting a job.
Having an out-of-wedlock baby, meeting the parent, like living with your spouse unmarried, like
and the baby's coming. Like oh my God, that's horror.
Even though the movie doesn't contain the dimension of smell,
it's there.
the thing that struck me in the dinner scene is that feeling of walking into your new girlfriend's parents' house and smelling it. And just like
chicken, like
this does not smell right. And I don't know if I can be a part. It's very Seinfeldian, but I don't know if I can marry into a family where the home smells like green beans all the time.
Really? Yes. It smells like old green beans.
Old green bean smell. That's a big no.
The other thing I like about Lynch, especially in Eraserhead, is the fact that the element of revulsion and horror because of baby, but you feel sorry. You feel sorry for the baby.
You do. But it's disgusting. Then it starts fucking pulsating and what it needs to eat, like. But maybe it's a message like, would you care for it?
Right.
And he did care for it. Like a father would, no matter what situation we're in. It's real. That's horror. But he did it grotesquely. Fatherhood.
Yes.
I want to say a nugget that he left in that movie is the picture hanging in the back of the bed was the nuclear bomb that's shown up and back to him is Gordon.
And Gordon.
It was like Judy was here the whole time.
Come on. What are you supposed to say? What are you supposed to say?
Feel like, man? That's the biggest ongoing joke. The biggest. Ooh.
I have to go. I may be able to come back. I don't know. You guys keep going.
Okay, we'll be here.
See you, Patrick.
Okay.
But yeah, that shit was like, yo, dude. I was like, what is that? He got the same portrait.
But again, it was bringing it back to the writers and directors and artists that create their own universes.
Yeah.
And they put nuggets in there, even if they didn't mean to at the moment, but the nuggets that are within the universes. Like that picture.
That nugget,
at that in Eraserhead before
Twin Peaks.
Probably didn't mean anything, but when he made Twin Peaks, he was
put
like,
it back in there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like if you leave.
It was
a call sign. It was like a call sign.
It was just a beautiful, not mistake, but a beautiful.
No, it's almost like hello, it's me.
Yeah,
exactly.
But he used it as a story piece.
Yes. Absolutely. I mean, he would do that. That's efficiency.
That's thinking, man. That's like, it's not even matter what they would call. It was like, I'm looking at my old work, and what can I use from that'll tighten up the story that I've been telling for like unheard of 20 years.
Yeah.
Plus years.
Like, can I say that? Like just my
die for something like that. Like you would give a finger to have something like to think you would because you know how it's going to hit a bitch.
Yeah.
Like it's hitting us right now.
Yes.
Like, just my nerd brain. Like Stephen King and David Lynch, they're probably the only ones. If they didn't do anything in their careers, they haven't like made up their own language.
I know.
You know, like Tolkien or George R.R. Martin or whatever. You know, like that's probably the only thing they didn't do.
Probably
own language.
They probably would have if they felt the story demanded it. I'm sure they probably would have.
But otherwise, like even Tolkien and Martin and like they just make up their own universes.
But when it comes to that language, it's because that story arc demanded an Elven language.
Yes.
It was a part of the piece, because I'm sure if he was doing if either one of them was doing the Alien movie, they probably would have say so in the hand and write in the alien language how it's pronounced.
Yeah,
that's what writers do.
Yeah.
That's just what writers do. All you guys are weird like that. I can't do that. I'm right,
but my nerd, my
what they all do.
like I loop all of them in my fandom. You know, Tolkien, Martin, C.S. Lewis, like
C.S. Lewis. Yes.
Stephen King, like they're all looped in my geek culture that have created their own universes.
Yeah, those are favorite
worlds. Like
those are your favorite thoughts.
You got to be a part of. Like it's like.
But those are your favorite thoughts, say.
Well, they're immersive worlds, so they stimulate the imagination and they take you to a place where it takes you out of the mundane.
Yeah.
Is there anything you guys want to add before we go?
We shall never see his like again.
It's true. It's true.
Well,
no matter what time, no matter how soon or recent I have gotten into David Lynch, his mind, his creations, his openness, like I will forever be thankful to have it a part of my life.
It's like education. You learn something.
And my inspiration. He is such a big part of our household and inspiration here, like in my creativity. Like he has so much to do with it. And I don't care when I'm so glad to have it.
Like I mentioned to Alan, it's like a moment in time we won't get back. I'm so happy to be alive at this time.
Yeah.
And to know that he was existing in his zeitgeist of his collective unconsciousness. And so now, dealing with his favorite thing, the collective unconscious, I do feel it's our opportunity, responsibility to just keep creating.
Yeah.
That's all he wants us to do, whether it be podcasts, raising families, cooking, learning an instrument, skateboarding, riding a bike.
Whatever you do creatively, do it.
And I
that's
feel
what he would want you to do.
That's how he fulfilled his life.
Exactly.
If you really studied him, you know he wouldn't want that less for anybody in the world. That's why he Cher asked him, "Are you a Republican?" He was like, "No." And she was like, "Are you a liberal?" She was like, "No." He said, "Neither one of them want to have a sit down with me," because that's what that's where most of us artists stay. You can tell the hacks that do culture war because they all hacks. They don't know how to talk about regular, normal life, race, whatever, gender, whatever, death.
No, my politics is humanity more than anything else.
Yeah, right. It's humanity at the core. So that's what I'm happy about. What about you, man? Like,
what about
do you think?
Joel?
Well, I have a very, very beautiful suggestion. Speaking of very talented directors and people who are very smart, I have a very great suggestion for tomorrow night. It's by a man named Hayao Miyazaki. It's called Princess Mononoke.
I love that movie, man. I love that movie. I'm an anime freak.
Great movie. You game, Alan, for Princess Mononoke?
Possibly. I have a lot to do tomorrow, and I'm not sure I'll get a chance to actually watch it because I've never seen it before. But
you'll love it when you do.
But go ahead and send me the link, and I'll let you know. So whether or not to expect me within a few hours beforehand.
I want some. Did you review RoboCop yet?
The original? No.
You should do it. We should do that in part 2 together, not 3. Just me and you. We do. We don't need to do
Peter Weller. I understand.
Not 3. It's my God, where's my dad?
Can we do a podcast on RoboCop and how the Cybertruck has bastardized the entire aesthetic of RoboCop?
Oh my God, it's going to get into that.
Well, did you see what they?
It don't look like Ed 209.
About the time when RoboCop had just come out, they decided to basically put the Shadow in a cyber body, basically RoboCop.
Yeah, I'm glad they did not do that.
They did that shit.
It'd be a wrap. And my boy, the boy brain that I had, it would just not even believe that shit, man.
That would be where the phrase "not canon" comes in.
Totally not canon.
You want to know the best thing that came out of RoboCop? RoboCop versus the Terminator, the video game. That game.
The Sega Genesis one was my jam.
Yeah.
And the soundtrack was incredible.
Yes.
Soundtrack was look, see, Joel, see what you're doing? Look, bro, we got so much to talk about.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll get together soon, man. Just hit me up or something.
RoboCop Rogue City is worth playing.
No, the new one, oh my God, is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. You know me, I smoke weed. If I get the chance when the kids sleep and everybody, baby sleep, hit the bowl, RoboCop, bro. It's like I'm living it. Dun, 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 dun,
and the fact that they put that you can actually investigate crime into a shooter, you know.
They got the Batman mechanics in it, dude.
Yes.
It's nuts. Yeah, man. Anyway. Rest in peace, goddamn David Lynch.
Yeah.
R.I.P. David Lynch. We will miss you, sir. Your work
miss you, brother.
will forever remain. First of all, I want to thank Barry, Patrick, Cara, Alan for joining me. There's going to be a lot of links in the description box. Link to Between the Shadows and Dark Shadows podcast. Link to Alan Gallant's YouTube channel, Call Sport After Dark. Link to Barry McClain's work is going to be in the description box. Link to, I think I've mentioned everything. I'm old.
Hey, thanks for the commercials, man. You know we love it.
No worries.
All right, guys.
Love you guys.
Have a great night.
Good seeing you again. Have a
Seeing you
good
guys.
night. Love you, Joe. Love you, Alan.
Oh my God.